So the ANC-led administration says the Pretoria High Court erred when it ordered that public buildings be exempt from load shedding. It also says that it is unreasonable and impossible to implement measures in 60 days to stop outages at schools, police stations and hospitals. Newzroom Afrika's Mashaba has the story.
The South African government says North Gauteng High Court might have overstepped its authority.
It's a question of the court having made an inappropriate order and having trenched on the separation of powers. It's at that level. And we submit that because the Minister of Electricity has indicated that he is the coordinator of all these actions, that this does not absolve the court of its role to determine the state, particular state entity that has breached, if at all, the rights and grant appropriate relief.
Eskom says court orders should be clear, realistic and be considerate of all factors.
In Eskom's papers, it made clear that alternative energy could not be provided in the manner that my Lord is suggesting. And the footnote is 76 of our heads, where the references are given. That's the evidence. There, the complexity, the immense cost, the lengthy timelines for the procuring of alternative sources of energy for all the listed entities as described in Eskom's answering affidavit, all of that was set out. It would take years, said Eskom, and it would cost billions.
In response to Eskom and government's argument, the Democratic Alliance and ActionSA argued that humanity should come first.
Now how can it be suggested there's not a sad day when people in hospitals may die? Doctors have it, the evidence is doctors have a choice whether A should die or B should die because hospitals aren't exempt from load shedding. That's the evidence. And the government come to court and say, terribly sorry, it was inappropriate separation of powers for the court to order us as the Minister of Electricity to protect those kinds of horrendous situations.
Judgment on the matter is reserved. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Mashaba in Pretoria.
And ActionSA's President Herman Mashaba was in court yesterday and he now joins us live. Herman, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. I want to start off here. So the previous judgment that was handed down, the one in May and then the other one in December, the latest one, which was the one in December, said that by no later than the 31st of January 2024, the Minister as well as the Minister of Electricity is ordered to take all reasonable steps to ensure that there shall be sufficient supply of generation of electricity to prevent any interruption of the supply as a result of load shedding to the following institutions, and those institutions are listed. That deadline was the 31st of January. Yesterday was the 27th of March. Why was the matter only heard on the 27th of March, or was there a delay in the application that was brought by the state?
Well, I think, first of all, good morning, Adrian and the viewers. I think, for us as ActionSA, as soon as we got to really know about the government appealing this particular matter, we immediately approached the courts to oppose this. Because I think we found the application astonishing, insensitive, shamelessness. I think if you look at this is a government that is telling South Africans every day that there will be load shedding by end of this year. This is the government that has been telling us South Africans since 2007 that they are busy dealing with the question of load shedding. And the three critical areas that ActionSA called upon not to really be subjected to load shedding: hospitals where people are dying as a result of electricity, children having to leave school because of not having the power, police stations in a country where 86 people are being murdered each day. Go to a police station at night, sometimes during the day, where police cannot do anything because they don't have the tools of trade as a result of not having electricity. For any government, just to really show humanity, Instead of actually employing very expensive lawyers to oppose this, instead of approaching the courts to say, look, this is so much we've got, we will roll out this process in terms of generators or whatever other measures are possible. I think it is possible for South Africa today, as I speak to you, to avoid having electricity cuts. I can give you an example of my own personal house. I produce more electricity than I need. I can sell the electricity I produce every single day. If this government was serious about stop load shedding, I could sell more electricity during the day than I actually use. But this government is preventing this from happening. There's a municipality in the Free State where they're producing already 75% of the electricity. They are capable of producing going up to 100%. ESCOM and the South African government are refusing them to provide their own electricity so that they're not dependent on government. So this clearly demonstrates the commitment of this country to subject South Africans to load shedding. So load shedding in this country, it's not something that really happened because there was an accident. The load shedding in this country happened deliberately. Firstly, by the high levels of corruption were in ESCOM. Secondly, deploying people who are not really qualified to do the job. But more importantly is the political will. Because actually what demonstrated in the court yesterday, and I remember in one instance, Judge Davis asking this question, is it the resources or is the political will? I, as Herman Mashaba and ActionSA, we are saying, no, it's a political will that is actually subjecting hospitals, schools, including all of us South Africans from this load shedding. Because during load shedding, that's when these matters happen. And they happen where? In the poor communities. In areas like where I live right now, as I say, I'm not affected in any way by load shedding and a lot of my neighbors and others. But what about millions of our poor people who are the ones actually have been voting this uncaring, unpatriotic government into power? They want to subject them to darkness so that our women are raped every 11 minutes, that a woman must be raped. And when they go to the police station would not be able to assist them because the police station would not really have the capacity to assist.
Yeah, but it is also under this government, actually, that legislation has been created for you to sell electricity back to the municipality. If the Western Cape government can do it, then surely the Gauteng government can do it as well.
Alvin, please, have you got context? I've got this system for the last few years. You know how much electricity I lose on a daily basis. You've been to my house. You can come here. Look at the electricity that I generate and the electricity that I use during the day. Obviously, I can't be putting millions of batteries to really keep this electricity so that I'm totally not dependent on the state. Unfortunately, they're delaying legislation for the municipalities to buy back this electricity that people like us are generating so that ESCOM and City Power can sell it to others so that we have less load shedding. But because they want to see us in the dark, they want to see people suffering, particularly the poor.
Yeah, but as I say, that there is already legislation that allows for that. The city of Cape Town, as an example, allows its residents to sell their excess electricity back to the municipality.
I don't live in Cape Town. I live in the city of Johannesburg.
Yeah, but the point that I'm trying to make is that there is legislation in place already for something like that to happen. So the problem can't necessarily be at a national level. It must be at a local level or at a provincial level. Do you agree?
Well, Aldrin, who's in charge of electricity generation in this country, when there's load shedding, it's national government, where including the president appointing minister of electricity. This minister, his responsibility with all these press conferences that he has on a regular basis to update us about whatever load shedding. One of his responsibility should really be working with the municipalities to really look at companies and households that have got excess electricity to speed up legislation to ensure that this additional electricity that some of us generate can be sold back to the network so that it can really reduce the load shedding that people of Johannesburg and Gauteng are subjected to.
Okay, let me quickly ask you on the Ekurhuleni motion of no confidence against the mayor. It is back on the agenda today. Also a motion of no confidence against the Speaker of the Council. Does ActionSA have the support of the ANC to remove the mayor and also to have the Speaker removed?
Well, I think we can't really decide for other parties when our team requested us the Senate after demonstrating to us that this mayor is incapable, is not the right person for the job. We supported the motion. However, for us as ActionSA, we are not proposing this motion so that we can put our own mayor. The reason what you are saying, this coalition of ANC and EFF, give us a better person. Your personal squabbles as bigger political parties, you cannot really tell us you don't have someone better qualified to actually run as a mayor. So whether other parties are going to support us, that unfortunately, Adrian will be talking to the right person, because us as ActionSA, we don't have such negotiations with the ANC. We will never have discussions with the ANC on issues of motions of no confidence before.
Are you confident, though, that those motions will be successful?
Well, I think it depends on how other political parties are going to vote, Aldrin. I think, it's a question of really asking me to be the spokesperson of other political parties. I can tell you for us as ActionSA...
No, as the person who has brought, as the organization that has brought the motion, are you confident that the motion will be successful?
Well, I think it depends on other parties, how they view the performance of this mayor, whether they believe this mayor is capable or not. And obviously the DA also brought a motion of no confidence against the Speaker, who's always been disrupting council. For us as ActionSA, I can confirm that for us as ActionSA, we are going to support this motion to remove the Speaker as well. But I can't obviously guarantee what the other caucuses are going to behave. I can tell you about ActionSA. We are going to support our motion. We are going to support the DA's motion to remove the Speaker.
Thank you so much for your time. Herman Mashaba there is the president of ActionSA, following that court hearing yesterday where Eskom wants to appeal the exemption order for critical institutions against load shedding.